But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.
All right, welcome to the 196th episode of the World Blockchain Roundtable. Our hosts for today are William, I am the emperor of din.social and all of social media, I do believe, and Zach and Andrew from the Legacy Right podcast. Welcome, everyone. Is my mic okay?
Your mic's good.
Oh,
yeah. Okay, excellent. All right, and we hope that I know Lisa's not going to be here. We hope that Greg and Sean show up, and we'll throw them in. If you guys see them below and I don't hear them, let me know and I'll add them. Let's see here. First, a real quick update on the layer ownership tokens, the governance token distribution from last week's episode. The topic was the Valentine's Day show, a very special World Blockchain Roundtable. I think someone proposed to somebody else on the show, I do believe. Hey, there's Greg. No, but it was I'm joking. It was nominated by I am. I think that's what he's getting at there, right? So who will receive 50 lot? Every topic contributor will get 50 lot, and every host 120 lot. Passive income, free edits, and governance votes come with those. Also, let's see here. I'm going to show. Let's see here. Where's it at? There it is. So there is a current proposal for the month of March shows. So St. Patrick's Day, which cryptos are green. Guess who? I'm sure proposed that.
Who would have done such a thing?
Provide blockchain solution for a current news headline.
Well,
I love that.
Time out. We got to do that. Someone's got to vote on St. Patrick's Day, and we definitely got to get Kiff's crypto on that day.
I'm surprised nobody's created a meme coin. Has anyone done a meme coin called Leprecoin yet? Because I feel like Leprecoin would win. Even though it would need to be spelled with an R-E as opposed to an E-R, otherwise the meaning would be entirely different.
Leprecoin.
Well, March 17th is a Monday, so it would have to be the 13th.
Okay. Well, or we could have a very special episode also. Anyway, blockchain and quantum, freestyle blockchain content, modularity. May 22nd is Bitcoin Pizza Day. That's way too in advance. I would suggest we don't vote on that one yet. Blockchain discussion about the new SEC chair and CryptoZar. I think I'm gonna put a vote in that we should drop all previous every time so that we don't get old ones in to upset William's
evil plan of idea dumping.
Yeah. Is blockchain susceptible to various manipulations?
I'm an anti-idea dumping maximalist.
Campaigns against crypto donations and blockchain project life cycles and reincarnation. I'm voting right now on
that was a good one.
Current news headline solution because I just like that format. Okay, next.
Blockchain quantum computing. That's a good one too.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
This
for that one
is interesting. So William put up to remove John as the MC of the roundtable. He was elected many months, probably over a year ago, right? Yeah. And he's been largely just not here, right? We believe that he was lost in the tunnels. I don't know if we've had any sightings. Probably like
we've just had to come to grips with the fact that he'll never make it back. This is a search for bodies at this point.
Bigfoot Elvis and Jeffrey
got caught up in Hell Night.
walk into a bar. Anyway, so it did pass. So John is no longer the MC. We have no MC. It's anarchy, guys. It's anarchy now.
Ooh.
You guys didn't think that.
Technically, it was just
never have an MC.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know if we need one or not.
Well, to be fair, it's not anarchy. We have an emperor now.
Yeah. Well, yes, but we're more like a province. The Round Table is more like a province than.
We should just stick a chair where John goes, like they did in Gondor.
That would be good.
There you go.
Someday we're gonna film an entire episode from the tunnels of Brooklyn, searching for John. It'll be like one of those caving expeditions on YouTube, right?
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
nobody's allowed to bring any camcorders though, because if they do, then we're gonna be in a found
make
footage
sure.
film.
Yeah, make sure when we do that one on location, we get Mike Rowe. I hear you.
Oh, well. There you go.
Dirty jobs finding John.
Okay, next, and this one applies today, I think. How many people do we have? Recent podcast shows have featured numerous panelists with valuable contributions to ensure equal participation, blah, 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 and to maintain order. The following format changes are proposed. Time limit for responses. When there are more than 4 panelists, every panelist will have a 60-second limit to answer each question. Secondary responses. After all panelists have responded to a question, any panelist may offer a secondary response for 30 seconds. And there is an option, as always, to pass. But explicitly, panelists have the right to pass on answering any question if they so choose. This change aims to balance participation and manage time more effectively. I don't know. It'll be fun, right? I voted for it.
Yep.
I'll vote for almost. Oh, let's see who voted against it. William voted against it.
Yeah.
And okay, all right. This is good. We can change it back, but let's try it. It'll be good.
We could also add like the ability to reclaim time.
True.
We could do that. I don't know if we want to mess with.
I yield my time back to the chair.
Yeah, that would. I mean, I do agree. That would be ideal, but at the same time, we'd have to have a timekeeper.
You mean to tell me you don't yield your time to the emperor?
Yeah,
Must I explain myself as emperor? Lisa had a
You know.
question that was unanswered, so I went ahead and put a no
Oh.
vote.
I
but I
see.
think we did resolve.
I answered her.
Yes,
I
you had
answered
answered her, and so that's why I hadn't flipped my vote. Maybe I should flip my vote.
That's all right. It's too late now. It's resolved. You're locked in forever.
I'm locked in for a no.
Historically, yeah, you can make a little reply to it still, but you can't.
What
change
if I
it
could
for
do a veto as emperor?
Emperor, is it?
Well, we'd have to add
it's a
we'd have to
province.
add an imperial veto power, but then you can do that.
Yeah,
True.
It's not a bad thought, but we need a governor. Anyway, that is it. So the theme of the week is very important: changes at the SEC after Trump's first 30 days in office. Look at it. It's the 20th. It's not quite. Is it 30 or is it 31 days? Because there
were 31 days in
January.
January.
Yeah.
We are good. Okay. All right.
Perfect.
So we're gonna get straight into the questions. Is that all right?
However, I would suggest we do a real quick audible because I have a recap of the past 30 days. And to be honest
let's
with
do it.
you, the Trump administration was pretty busy in regards to the SEC.
Here we go.
So here you go. I'm
Understatement.
not going to read this entire
Of the
post,
history of the Republic, really.
but it's quite lengthy. It's in the World Blockchain Roundtable, and you got Trump there his first 30 days. If you want to go back and read it, but let me give you a couple of real quick highlights. I think you'll find it fascinating, and this will help us in our discussion today, answering the questions. On his third day in office, he signed the executive order titled "Strengthening America Leadership in Digital Finance Technology." It's supposed to be a pro-crypto agenda, and this is where he got the working group. He names David Sachs as the Trump crypto czar, and he mandated a proposal of federal regulatory framework, including stable coins, and within 180 days, he wanted this chair, the setup, and all this. But he explicitly banned federal agencies from developing CBDCs, This was a reversal.
Contract opportunities are out
Biden's
there. Is what you're saying.
Yeah. That's what to jump on what Greg said. That actually makes it easier for like a contract opportunity to co-opt the crypto asset already and
chase.
Yeah.
The
Whoever
other
item that was
in
contract,
really,
pretty much. So it's still
the
dangerous
other one
waters.
was this. Also, the first
crypto industrial complex.
What he signed also included the National Digit Asset Stockpile, potentially using cryptocurrency seized by law enforcement or purchasing of, say, Bitcoin.
So retroactively authorizing that, as opposed to continuing to do it surreptitiously.
Yeah, to try to create a stable asset thing. On January 21st, he signed in acting SEC Chair Mark Ueda, who was appointed by Trump until the SEC Chair is confirmed by the Senate. He also created the Crypto Task Force to be led by Hester Pierce, the crypto mom, to mark a shift in enforcement opposite of the heavy enforcement by Gary Gensler to hopefully create a regulatory pathway. Recession SAB 121 was overturned on the 23rd. This was where banks were not wanting to handle cryptos or customers with crypto assets, canceling them, and this kind of thing.
Right.
And this is when I think Trump
that enabled Choke Point 2.0, basically.
Right. This is when he also Paul Atkins for SEC chair. Scaling back crypto enforcement was February 4th. This one's a big one, Joe. Reports emerged around February 4th that the SEC was downsizing its specialized crypto enforcement unit, reassigning 50 lawyers and staff. This assignment is Trump's pledge to ease regulatory pressure.
That one's fucking crazy, actually, when you think about the amount of other things that are in the overall window of assets that you can regulate at the SEC. Crypto accounted for like less than 1%, I think, of the overall, like a dramatic less of a percent, like under 0.5% of
exactly
all financial flows that they could regulate, or hypothetically all of crypto if they could get it.
It says a lot, right? Because so many lawyers and staff were working on the crypto.
What percentage of the SEC do you think was committed to a thing that was less than 0.5% of all financial traffic that they could regulate?
Too much, because the banks and Elizabeth Warren.
That's some inefficiency, if I had to call some inefficiency out.
Yep.
David Sachs did his press conference, as the cryptos are, his first press conference. He was joined by two senators, Scott and Boozman, to outline the administration. And by the way, this was on February 4th, the cryptos administration vision. He emphasized regulatory clarity as top priority, hinted about evaluating Bitcoin as adding it as part of the reserve and asset backing of the dollar.
This is the one that co-ops Bitcoin.
Pending cabinet confirmations, but he also now that's still in motion. That's still being talked about, but he really talked a lot about stable coins. So David Sachs is really about stable coins, which is scary. Now on February 6th, this was good because Hester Pierce detailed the crypto task force top 10 priorities. Not going to list them all here. You go look at that. But this is when Bitcoin hit its record high of $109,000. But she also criticized the SEC's past decade of inaction, not defining what cryptos were, and promising a more proactive stance in.
They've terrorized the fucking industry for a long time, so it's not amazing to me that it still hasn't taken off yet. People are still afraid that there's a monster under the bed to a certain degree.
True. And last but not least, just as of yesterday, the working group is still late February trying to identify all existing crypto-related regulations, which is due February 22nd, Monday, right? and to give recommendations by late March. So the SEC supposedly is going to roll back some of their rules, and congressional action is brewing, like with Tim Scott and others, to try to put together something within the Trump's first 100 days. This Fit 21 bill is actually, Aaron Day talked to us about this in some videos. It's actually pretty evil, to be honest with you. If you when you dig into it, I haven't yet, but I'm going off of Aaron Day's recommendation, which he's usually spot on. Hard to argue with his point of view.
Bitcoin's going to be a review. Thing you can do is reframe what he's telling you as good, if you want to defend it, because he's got it nailed down precisely as far as what it does. You can't argue it does something else. The question is, do you think it's good or bad? If you're with us, you probably think it's bad.
Now here's the AI key takeaways. Pro crypto pivot. The SEC's transformation from the Gensler enforcement era to hopefully a more collaborative, clarity-driven era. But there's a lot of unresolved questions like stockpile legislation of Bitcoin, how fast the administration can align with Congress in the crypto world, and lax enforcement could invite more fraud is what some are arguing in the House. So
prove some fraud first actually ever existed outside of centralized, non-fully tokenized things.
Right. So anyway, Joe, that's the 30-day rundown of the Trump administration from the SEC's perspective as it relates to blockchain and crypto.
We also have Jorge Tenrerio, whatever his name is, that was demoted to IT at the SEC. He was Gensler's supposed right-hand man, and I've not been on a call with him, but our team has, and he apparently was, let's just say, abrasive, to say the least, just to be polite. And also this, let's see here.
Accountability matters.
This one up. I don't know. I just saw this yesterday, right? But John Reed Stark, SEC enforcement chief, said that the agency is set to drop Ripple appeal and halt all crypto cases. Now, I don't know if this is just him saying these are the indicators, or if he said this is what he knows from what he hears. But essentially, he was talking about all crypto lawsuits dismissed or settled in favor of crypto firms. We've thought this for a while anyway, because all signs point that direction, and we're just in this window of time, and that's why Dragon Chain got the 90-day stay.
When you look at who they targeted, right? Like, let's pause for a second here and really focus in on why this makes sense, right? Yeah. It makes sense because what they were doing was targeting people who didn't need to be targeted, who didn't deserve to be targeted. Yep. It was all people building technology, and most of it was inappropriate. They shouldn't have been pursuing it as if it were finance. It was a new form of thing, and they rushed to frame it as the thing they did, just so they could go after it with men with guns.
Yep, it was all frivolous.
It was entirely frivolous, basically.
Yep.
So with this, I mean, do you think that they'll look into potentially pardoning like CZ? With the
possibly, one would think they might. I mean, they might need to vacate. Actually, those things might be void. Those things might be voided essentially.
Or that,
should be. I'll bet they'll hold him, and he'll have to go appeal separately or something. But
there may be what there may be are settlements that occur after private lawsuits come back to take their pound of flesh back.
Yep. Yeah, I mean CZ.
Fair.
They only went after CZ because he exposed what was happening at FTX with Sam Bankman-Fried.
The non-crypto company in the areas that should have been governed under the area that they haven't been governing. Instead, they've had 50 lawyers in fucking crypto trying to regulate software when they should have been regulating fucking financial assets.
So now we go to the actual questions. So I'm going to refresh these real quick to get the latest. Episode 196.
And 60-second rule starts, right?
60-second rule starts. How are we going to do this? I don't have. Oh, you know what? I'll bring it up on my phone for now.
How's this? This clashes with the audible power a bit.
I don't think so. I mean, what do you mean? Let's see here. What do you mean?
We just did it.
I could, for instance, call an audible right now that suggests we temporarily and unilaterally set aside the time limits because we've just learned about them on air.
Yeah. But I don't know. It makes it more fun not to do that. It's more fun.
Leave a comment on the live stream.
I know. I could, but I'm not going to because I like the idea.
We will go, we'll start at the top G, and we'll go down the first question, and then we'll go backwards the second question. So, getting in early or late is not ideal, I guess, if you care about that. But one way or another, it'll be interesting because you'll have a little bit of time to think about that, that snippet. So, and I really wanted to see Sean, frankly, on a 60-second timer. That's what I wanted to see.
Yeah, hopefully we do. Hopefully
maybe he'll show up. Okay, so
yep.
I hope so too.
We can test out the Sean Control Act.
No,
Crypto Mom. Question: what impact will the SEC's new crypto task force, led by Hester Pierce, Crypto Mom, have on regulatory clarity for blockchain projects, aka who's I didn't ask it, William. Also, is it safe to start a new project in America? Note, this task force is charged with the duties of defining securities and focus on custody requirements by institutions. The task force signals a shift from enforcement to collaboration within the industry. So my turn, starting my 60 seconds. I have to think it's going to be a positive impact. I think the indications that are really good, that they moved so quickly after inauguration to set up the crypto task force, to actually get it published and get it defined very clearly how it can accept input, and that they're going to publish the input, right? The fact that they will publish the input is a beautiful thing. Get on there and use the Dragon Chain AI tool so that you can get a lot of Dragon Chain emails in there, so that when people are crawling through it, like say the press, they'd see it. And the second thing is that you can request a meeting. Now, I've requested a meeting and I've still not heard anything back, so I'm hoping it's just time. But either way, that's my answer, and I have 3 seconds left. That was perfect. So, who is next? Let's see, William, your answer. Go.
So I better talk really fast because I only got like 57 seconds left. Crypto Mom. I don't think she's going to. Well, she might be a little bit more pro business, pro crypto, pro projects in America. But free men do not ask for permission. And I'm much more in favor of gray markets, to be honest with you. I still don't think I want to play in this sandbox, meaning America, because what happens in 4 years? What if the tables flip? Or what if a whole bunch of scam coins come in and they're actually pumped up by the Intel super state, and so now there's a rush for new legislation to shut down more cryptos. So I still don't want to play in this sandbox. I don't trust the system. Sure, it's going to help a lot of existing projects. So that's what I have to say about that.
All right, perfect. You got 5 seconds left. Andrew is next.
William, you're not part of the Hollow Gang, but yeah, I'd give build on what you were saying. I commented earlier. By creating a regulatory framework, what they're doing is they're sustaining their existence and giving fuel to their momentum. I mean, it's in the moment.
Trying to hitch their failing shitcoin to our thriving ecosystem.
40,
you can't interrupt.
40 minutes for 4 years, right? And then they'll pivot, and they'll just keep pivoting and trying to, make it 8 years and then 12 years. That's just how they work. So
very good. 23 seconds left. Okay, Zach.
Does that mean I get to take Andrew's 23 seconds?
Nope.
Oh man. Well, to keep it short,
he has to say, "I yield my 23 seconds
you cannot
to the right honorable gentleman."
I take
I said that earlier.
Sean's seconds. No, I'm just playing. But I think collaboration aside, I'm hoping that maybe we see a little bit more on the business side of things, more tokenization into liquidating assets, so businesses can, specifically like sports teams that are robbing us of our tax money for sports stadiums, to utilize to, have their own cash flow in crypto.
Yep. Very good. Okay. All right, Greg.
Okay, my point is going to be that it's never safe to start a project in a field that's disruptive. It's always a gray market. You risk being shut down later by doing something so audacious that it pisses off people with power. Unless the thing that you do, if you kill the king when you go for the king, in fact, is a fatal blow. And I think that the beauty of the next 4 years under Hester Peirce and whoever else gets involved, whoever she brings in, I think we have a chance to finish building the thing that allows us to ignore them.
Very good. Very good. Point. All right. Sean, you have 60 seconds.
Welcome.
Greg's language is so amazing. He used the words audacious and king, but with no British accent. That's cool. Okay, so I don't know. Y'all kind of went down a little bit different than looks like the question from what he was saying. I agree with him in a lot of ways, but I think that this is a very good step in the right direction as far as changing the way of thinking. I put a legal article or wiki in the chat for you to look at because it blew my mind. That happened with Ford and the Dodge brothers.
Okay. Interesting.
Where the Supreme Court said that Henry Ford couldn't pay his employees more when they deserved it because they were building good cars because his first duty was to the shareholders. And that set the course of U.S. business to where we're at today. But I think Hester Peirce, the big change is the impact is that there's someone in charge of that they do something about it. It's not like when Mark Zuckerberg went before Congress and they were like, now you're from the internet, so.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any follow-on second?
Yeah, I would say that despite the fact that it's always dangerous, that I'm not trying to discourage you from doing it. In fact, I would say the number one failing that we're seeing as a space right now is that people who have the capacity to be audacious are being timid.
This is true. Very true. Anybody else? Okay.
Yeah, I have something to add. I think that if the general public starts seeing that, oh wow, the U.S. government is pro crypto, and things start getting built again, and this kind of thing, it might be a little bit more detrimental to the private coins, tokens that are being built, like on Xano or something like that. I think it might be a little bit more difficult for them because now they're fighting for dollars that are considered legal and okay to invest in. And so I think that could be a little detrimental to that market. However, those folks that are in that market are hardcore, don't trust their government. And, it's fine if you put it in words, but let's watch their actions and see that's where the proof is in the pudding. Oh, and by the way, Sean, we just passed a new thing where everyone has 1 minute to answer a question and then a 30-second follow-up if you so choose after everyone's gone through their 1 minute.
Okay.
So would it be considered safe to start a new project here in the United States now?
It's safer than it's ever been. It's as safe as it was in 2017 right now.
That's a great political answer.
Fair.
I counter say 2016 and earlier. 2017 it already started getting rough.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Biden, SAB 121. Under Biden, SAB 121 issued by the SEC in March 2022 required firms holding customer crypto to list it as a liability on their balance sheets, increasing costs and complexity. This deterred banks and institutions from offering crypto custody, drawing criticism for stifling innovation until its repeal in January of 2025. It deterred institutional involvement in the cryptocurrency space. Did it? Question: how significant is the repeal of SAB 121 for institutional adoption of cryptocurrencies? We start at the bottom with Sean. You have 60 seconds.
I think the repeal is very significant. Because it showed a shift in the people that we're not supposed to care about. The people that we've been trying to beat. They basically said uncle, which I think was a good. Once again, it's just a signal, along with what's happening with Nestor Pier, with the whole thing. They're part of a greater movement, but they're little signs. But this was a big thing. It did bring a lot of money into the space. For good or bad, whenever the 401ks and everything collapsed, they could blame a lot of it on crypto. Could be used as a scapegoat. Whatever. There's plans within plans within plans. But I think it was significant and a big shift.
Time. Okay, Greg.
Well, I would say that it's just a correction because it trues the state of the regulatory space up with what's constitutional. They never had the constitutional authority to regulate software. And the fact that they had figured out a way to impose financial sanctions on software was a liability that we didn't think of as a space when we started building things to replace what they were using. But this just trues things up with what's right, that they don't really have any basis to regulate this at all.
Very good. All right. Let's do Zach.
Greg stole my answer. To piggyback on Greg, what he said, like the constitutionality of anything that comes out of these regulatory agencies is unbearably illegal because everything has to go through Congress and pass through law and cycle through. So, like, if that's not occurring, then what gives it a basis for SAB 121 to even exist? These agencies have no authority of anything unless given to by Congress, an act of Congress for law. So the court should have ruled it way earlier, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Very good.
30 seconds real fast, Joe. Can I use my 30 seconds now?
Oh, you have to wait till the end.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, I guess... What are the rules? I don't remember.
The rules are after everyone's answered.
Yeah,
in
after
the 30
everybody. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Hold on.
Fair enough.
Andrew.
Okay. I refer to the original Libra started by Facebook that they were trying to implement, and then they had legal pressures to back off of. And I think about AT&T and some other service providers like Yahoo, who did not want to release information to the federal government, but they were legally coerced to. The more time you have, trying to implement a project or an idea, and then it just backfires on them, the more you're gonna capitulate and not be able to do anything sustainable.
Okay. Yep. Very good. Let's go, William. Sorry,
I want everyone to do this little mental exercise. Close your eyes and imagine Canada is the 51st state. And you've gone back into time and it's 2019. And the SAB 121 is the rule of the land, meaning that banks must look at crypto as a liability on their balance sheet. So therefore, they really don't want to bank with anybody that's dealing with crypto. So they close and cancel your accounts. You get doxxed. You get, shut down. You get eliminated from the banking system. Then up pops a trucker convoy, and a trucker convoy ends up in downtown Toronto or Ottawa, whatever, and they try to close your bank accounts because you're also tied to crypto. Well, this reversal essentially does that. It prevents banks from shutting your bank account down just because you're involved in the crypto space. So I like that it's an executive order, that it rescinds this, but I'll agree with Greg and everyone else that has mentioned too, that it's just unconstitutional what the SEC was doing beforehand. I thought it would be kind of fun to imagine Canada as a 51st state.
That would be Ukraine, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just pictured a map that had it labeled as United States, just in North America, and yeah.
Okay, I will say on this, institutional adoption of cryptocurrencies is generally a bad thing, in my opinion. Tying it into the banks brings us into the banker rules and brings us into what we have now, where all of the idiots on Twitter that had laser eyes were really just junior bankers, and that's not a good thing for the crypto industry. We need to be building things that haven't been built before to change the world, to make the world better, and not just trying to find better ways to do usury. Okay. So anyway, that's my answer. 30 seconds for Greg. What did you want to add? Sorry about that.
So I lost my place. So give me a second to think of where I was here. Zach, what were you were talking about the unconstitutionality element.
Well, yeah, the unconstitutionality. Yeah.
You said something in particular that piqued my interest. And it was this idea that
well, to help you out there, it's the SEC. This SEC regulatory issue goes against the Commerce Clause of the United States Constitution. Right. So,
well, and I think that that's right. Now I remember. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to take up more than 30 seconds. I just lost my train of thought.
I didn't start the timer, so. It's all good.
Fair enough. So post Chevron, this is particularly poignant, right? Because one thing that I found out that the SEC was doing, especially with Gensler, was he was giving a speech, and then he was putting that speech on their website and putting footnotes on them. And then he'd give another speech, and he'd footnote it, and he'd cite to his speech. And then he'd cite to that speech and the previous speech in some kind of opinion letter that he would send before Congress. And this guy was basically justifying the SEC's expansion of authority to the speeches he was giving. And that was fine under Chevron. But since Chevron's been overturned, that's gone. So what are we doing?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to add my 30-second point is that, this was the power of the pen by executive order. And who's to say that the power of the pen by executive order isn't going to revert it back? So it really brings about, not just from the agency perspective and the Chevron doctrine being thrown out, but it also brings into the question of the constitutionality of an executive order. We like them when they're good for us and bad for thee, but what happens when they're bad for us and good for thee?
Right.
That's a good point. I think that's something that has to be answered, because there's so many times where it's like, yay for our side, but they, air quotes would hurt me too bad to do, but they have learned that. So whenever they're in power, they give, what these kind of things. Imagine with our system of checks and balances, if every executive order had to go before the Supreme Court and they had like 72 hours to look at it and just put a stamp of approval on it.
And that's a great idea, but it circumvents the Constitution. The Constitution doesn't have.
We would have to. Well, no, the courts could set that up underneath the Supreme Court. It could still be. It would have to still be appealable, but the Congress could create. The Congress created all the lower courts, for example, right? The Constitution allows for the Supreme Court. They set the rules for the court, the size of it, the shape of it, the number of districts. That's all Congress, right?
Right. It clips the wings of Congress by a giant margin, because now you have Congress it's been nullified because, I'm just going to do everything executive order, and it's pass or fail by the courts, and the legislative branch,
But in the end,
they write bills. They write bills that say "save the world from evil," and we get this.
See, this is the thing I was going to say in the first place. People like us and libertarians, we live in what should be, what's legal, what's right, and not in reality. In reality, if you get pulled over, they can take all your money and take everything for any reason. They can make it up. And then for you to try to get it back will cost you too much money. So in reality, whenever Congress or the president does anything, it goes to the Supreme Court, and it just takes a long time. And they've learned to play that game. We can make mandates where you have to get an injection. It's unconstitutional.
But change the industry's course of dealing before the ruling comes in. It's going to take 6
months, and they know it's illegal because 90% of them are lawyers.
Right.
Yeah. Right. If they did something like that, it would kind of.
Right, and then once they change course of dealing, they use course of dealing as an argument, right?
All right.
I got a video clip of Michael Malice that actually covers this. If you want, I can throw it up for quick. It's only like a couple seconds.
That'd be cool. You want to see it? Sure. Whatever you guys think.
Let's do it.
Sure, I'm okay with it.
Just whatever you're ready.
Make sure you share audio when you.
I like Michael Malice.
Yeah,
democracy worked. Everybody.
I like smart people as well.
All right. Tell me when it's there. Oh wait, is it there? Is this it?
Yeah, just down here.
Centuries ago, the Pope had armies. He had torturers, and he was engaged in a lot of things. Right now, he's got Vatican City, which is a micronation. He's got his royal guard. He's got his Pope mobile. He issues his proclamations. The Pope is not really someone that you or I are concerned with. He says a lot of things you like. He says a lot of things I like. He says a lot of things you don't like. He says a lot of things you don't like as well. The point being, he's not in a position to impose his worldview onto populations, right? Other than through persuasion and so on and so forth. If the state got to a point where you have people who really believe in Washington and Washington saying you should do this and that, whereas we all had control over our money, that's not anarchism, but I'm fine with that. It's like, so President, McCormick said today we got to do this, this, and this. Oh, cool. That's nice. It's just like the Pope. Like, you issue this proclamation, you have your point of view. I'll take it under advisement, but I'm going to do what I want, live peacefully, and treat people well. So that is, I think, a much more realistic medium-term goal, and I don't think it's very unrealistic at all. Rather than a collapse of the state, basically a transition away from the state being a state per se, and just kind of being this organization that you can choose to pay attention to or not.
A church-like religion. That's funny.
Okay.
Layers.
Yeah, exactly. Very good.
Layers.
Very good.
He's talking about layers.
Okay, let's see here.
Unravel the onion down to its core.
This is it, right? This is the next one. Okay. Golden age of cryptos. Question: are we seeing the start of a crypto golden age under Trump, or is it too early to tell given the pace of legislative and regulatory action? So I think it's my turn first again, right? I hope we are seeing the start of a crypto golden age, but it is probably too early to tell. All indications are that they are doing the right things to aid the start of a crypto golden age, but they have to keep going. They have to drop all those cases, and until that happens, all bets are off. They have to recognize quite a few things about crypto that so far I don't see them doing. Right now, still everything they talk about, even the positive things, tend to have a huge financial tilt to them. They're not. They're still dealing with this as a junior banker realm, and that frankly needs to change if you want a golden age. Okay, so let's go with William next.
All right, I'm going to say for number go up, this is maybe the beginning of a golden age for cryptos for at least maybe 4 years, right? And it was signified or telegraphed in the markets with Trump coin, woohoo, and Melania coin, woohoo. So that's where I guess the kickoff of the golden age starts, and then the about face look, and I'm using air quotes, look of the SEC being more collaborative with the crypto industry. I think that is going to pump a lot of people's hopium for Bitcoin go up, and the idea of holding the carrot out there as Bitcoin being a reserve, to support the dollar. I think it's ludicrous idea, but it's not, doesn't fall in line with my belief system, shall we say, or principles when it comes to agorism.
Time. Okay, so it is Zach next. No, it's Andrew next. Sorry,
Andrew.
Yeah. So I don't think it's a golden age. We're in every 4 years it's a cycle, right? There's a bull market, bear market, and the amount of money per Bitcoin, like the cost, it's shrinking. That's not me that originated that. Was Steve from Cryptocurrency University. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to find the sweet spot right now. They're trying to equal out the purchasing power of the dollar in a period where the market's going to stay steady for a significant period of time, so that they can at least get on equal playing ground. And I'll yield the rest of my time.
Perfect. Zach.
There will never be a golden age of crypto as long as the state exists. The state is perpetually parasitic and will always be anti-competitive to the market. And so to say that there's a golden age in some capacity, it's a fallacy. Only for the simple fact that but we could. But the only way to actually outpace everything is to just divorce from it all. I had something else to say, but I forgot what else I was going to say. So I'll yield the rest of my time, and I'll try to get it back in 30 seconds.
Greg.
So, yes, we are seeing a golden age, not in crypto, but in technology. This thing has been inevitable. This thing has been being held back by every bit of force the government can throw at it. What we're watching right now is the government admitting that it can't hold back the flood. What we're going to see is automation, robots, doing an amount of labor for a cost that has not happened, like the shift hasn't happened since prior to the Industrial Revolution. And this will be organized on a new financial basis, a new data-based basis. And all this stuff will need to be organized by machines for it to really, really be as big as it can. And crypto is the perfect rails for that. This was to me inevitable. And just as history has shown us time and time again, you can try to hold back a flood of technological change, but it ultimately just plows you under. And that's what's happening to the government right now.
All right, Sean.
I posted a meme in the Telegram group that kind of, I think, goes along with this. It's Mount Rushmore, but it's called Mount Rugmore, and it's got Dave Portnoy, Melania Trump, Javier Milei, which a lot of these people, I think they're being led down a path that they don't fully understand, and it's done a lot of detriment to people that kind of know what things are. It has brought crypto more to the forefront, but it's bad. I mean, Trump coin was from number go up. It was a rug, Melania rug, Malay rug, Adam 22 rug, all and now, here's the thing. Now non-crypto bros know what that means. They know what rugged means. So it whether it's by design, I don't know, but I think I agree with Greg. It's a technological golden age, definitely.
Okay.
I'd like to add 30 seconds to my comment, if I could.
Yep.
I'll tell you what's the golden age for 2025. Our crypto czar even announced it in his first press conference and was talking about it at the end of 2024. David Sachs said it's going to be, it's going to be the year of stable coins. And that's where they're going. And stable coins, in my opinion, is for the top elites of stable coins are going to make a lot of money in transactional fees. And I think they're just like, CBDCs, pretty ugly.
I'd like to add that to some 30 second. That's exactly what it is. The shit coins they're trying to peg shit coins to the only reserve the federal government has, and that's the confidence of the federal government. They're trying to gain confidence so that they can remain relevant. And that's dangerous because as they're kind of peeling away the human element of administration and the bureaucracy, they're going to add the machine element, and you're going to start seeing an AI bureaucracy stample through, and that's going to add more regulation, more control eventually down the road.
Yes.
Unless the AI won't play along.
This
is possible.
That is possible.
So, for my 30 seconds, I just wanted to highlight one example of this technological golden age most people aren't seeing coming. There's a nanotechnology company that is basically a rebranded biotech company. They are coming out of stealth, and they're going to succeed greatly in financing their efforts to do xenomorphic architecture of things, right? Biotech animals. Their first project is to build a fucking unicorn, literally.
I don't know if you guys saw the new video put out by Clone.
And they show their labs. Like, these people are worthy of funding. If you give them money, we'll have unicorns in the world. I'm not fucking shitting you.
Unicorn shitting us. If you haven't seen that, if you want to show that later,
it's you can check it out on Pirate Wires. Actually,
the company
just did a piece on them.
Clone. It's the most horrific thing I've ever seen. It's like we think it's really good special effects, but it's not. It's from nightmares.
These guys have already successfully put jellyfish glow in other animals.
Well, that sure seems like PETA's all over that and excited for that technology to become fruition.
Right, we're just taking control of biotech.
Okay. Let's see here. We'll go to the next one.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Notes for today's discussion. Oh, you already had this. Okay, this is what we did. Very good, very good, very good. That's it. That is all of the questions. That is everything. So,
well, should we end the show because there was no new news today or this past week? There's no current events that are happening that's exciting.
I mean, there is one current event. There is one.
Oh, I want to
Elon hopes to, or at least the rhetoric is, he's going to audit the IRS and hopefully shut it down.
Yeah, and he's going to do. I don't know if you know this. He's going to pull a full Geraldo and wants to audit Fort Knox live stream.
They got that permission to do that, by the way, today.
So what happens?
Who gave permission?
I have no idea. I saw that they're going to do it though.
What happens if it's empty and to Bitcoin, to the dollar, to everything else? And what happens?
It's going to be fucking empty. They're probably rapidly buying gold right now.
Yeah, well, we already know that there's a massive move of gold from London. Apparently, they can't even keep up with the amount of gold that's moving over here.
Yeah.
And nobody knows precisely why.
I saw a meme with U.S. soldiers spray painting bricks.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. Is it? We got somebody got the gold in Libya and Iraq.
Yeah.
Where is that at? And is
the Afghanistan central bank too.
So the third question the third question is, are they moving it to be ready for an audit, or are they moving it because they're going to end the Fed? So let's start with William.
Okay, this is good. I'll go woo-woo with you. What if it was already telegraphed by Elon or others that they were going to audit the Fort Knox months ago, and it's a conspiracy to upset the apple cart and the dollar or something to that effect, and push us towards more CBDCs of the Black Swan event or this kind of thing.
It's an op against precious metals.
It would be horrific for the world economy, especially the reserve dollar. And if you could, you'd bet long on the BRICS, right? You're very curious all the gold that's leaving the Bank of England, the Central Bank of England, and there's a run on the bank for gold over there in England, and it's coming over here, and nobody knows why. I haven't heard a good logic.
I think it's pre-cooking the books. I think they're trying to balance the accounts so that after Elon goes in and finds it empty, that the mainstream press can bring their fact checkers in and go, well, no, it's not actually that bad if you look at our overall holdings.
I will say this. I went to Home Depot and Lowe's yesterday, and they were out of bricks and they were out of gold spray paint.
It is Home Depot, though.
That's just because all of the layoffs in DC are sniffing that. Who's next? Is there anybody to throw in on that? I don't know. I'm hopeful that they end the Fed and the IRS with it, and the CIA with it, and the SEC with it. And I hope, although some people consider it evil on my part, but I don't think so. I hope for justice and to see. I've done a very quick survey, and there are ample light posts in DC for what is needed. I don't know if there's enough rope though.
But is tar and feathering going to be back?
We could probably sold all the rope to pay for DEI programs.
I would make the trip to to see that. You know,
I don't think it's evil.
That's my
it's going to be painful. Like I'm in an incredible amount of pain right now, but it's not evil. It's just I'm doing something that I like. I've also been like looking into stoicism a lot more.
Nice.
I think it's I think it's so much to learn there. But I think that
it's a way to be.
That you know, the good times make weak men and weak men make hard, you know, all that kind of thing. We're coming up on something that it's going to have to be a rough time because we've let things get so bad. You know, we've turned over so much of our own responsibilities to other people that we shouldn't have, to lesser men and women. But someone wanted to say something about the 51st
and
state,
trans
Canada.
Men.
Yeah, Canada.
Trans women.
Lesser, you know, they don't have everything that regular men do. But imagine this: you said Ukraine is the 51st state. What if Trump goes in there? And it's part because he was cutting out old Zelensky there. All right, Russia, we get Ukraine, but we get out of NATO, so you don't got to worry about that, and we split Gaza with you. Can you imagine?
Which Gaza? Gaza, Mozambique, or Gaza?
No,
it's like a beachfront.
We get the beachfront. We get the beachfront, and they get the.
We just take the beach houses.
Yeah, they get the West Bank. We get the
Airbnb bitches.
Yes, just split it with
Airbnb
Russia.
capital of the world.
Can you imagine what the EU and everyone would do? Be like, what? Like, what are you gonna do? It's us and Russia. Come on.
What about Greenland? You're just is Greenland worthless? Why'd you leave out Greenland in this?
Because that's
going to be a ski resort.
Question.
That's the real plan for Greenland.
Imagine what's going to happen to Alaska when we can just build a highway and you don't need a passport. Like the business there is going to boom.
Oh, yeah.
Amen.
That's something that shocked me.
From one ski resort to the next.
I talked about this for weeks because it blew my mind that there's only 2 miles between us, the United States, and Russia. Because the part of Alaska, the island of Alaska.
Yeah.
You can borrow my bag, Emperor.
Oh my gosh! Gibbs Crypto, that is so funny. That is hilarious. And you're banished.
All right. What else? What else is going on? No gold. There's no gold left.
We were talking about that on our Legacy News program, and that was I brought up the fact that China was forging gold and selling it off as a debt swap.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it's been empty for a while.
I would.
And then I brought up the fact
that they do an audit, but obviously we don't have any pull here. So, but that's something people who are watching any live streams should keep an eye out if they can.
Exactly.
The people guarding the vault door probably don't know.
And then I brought up the fact that this could be a ploy on an inevitable collapse that possibly they want it to occur under Trump's presidency and why he was elected. And there's another thing. Rumor has it that there might be an EO that's in place where he wants to that he's going to tariff gold shipments, and that's why you're seeing all the clear out into the United States now. Is he's calling the bluff? I think they're trying to call the bluff.
Yeah, that's not just a rumor. He actually talked about that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which that would be incredibly dangerous because if he doesn't actually do what he says and create the tariff.
That opens up a can of worms here that we can discuss on this. So, because of that tariff, that has opened up a huge price difference in where the gold is bought and sold. Mm-hmm. So the excuse for all the gold coming out of England and Europe and other places is for arbitrage. Because now we can take it from here,
gray market arbitrage,
bring it over here, and we can make money on it, like a decent amount of money on gold.
All we have to do is pay off the shipper with a chunk of it.
So that's kind of, which might be true or it might be
how many pallets of gold do you think it would take to bribe the average shipping company to go ahead and just
none? How many bullets would it cost? How many? I hope your ship doesn't doesn't blow up from a submarine, one day. I mean, you don't have to pay for it.
That's true. You could just extort it.
Yeah. Look at how many planes have crashed in the last.
Don't worry, the Coast Guard will intercept your call for help.
Yeah. Forget when those ships. I mean, forget Coast Guard, dude. You're in the middle of the ocean. There's no Coast Guard. There's no if you're satellite. That's it.
Yeah, but we do have radio dominance over most of that area, so nobody's going to hear the screams.
Yeah, we have a plane fly over, jam a nice few miles, and where'd that ship go?
Hold up.
What ship? It never existed.
Yeah, that is true.
Literally Hitler.
I do think it's very interesting how there's so much old stuff surfacing.
Fascism.
Things that people like us have been talking about. That the Fed lost $2 trillion. What? And they got Jerome Powell on. These old, 80s looking, videos where he's like, yeah, we don't know. I mean, banks got it. Some banks, you don't know where
the Fed's job is literally to lose money.
Look, man, we sent some loans out. We're not sure. It went to banks. It's not like people got. He was literally like, why are you asking me where this $2 trillion went? He was offended.
Well, they're saying 4.7 trillion is now
open market operations, man.
4.7 trillion lost is what they've found
minutes.
so far.
Yeah, that. But then all we're talking about the old pictures of, the military in Iraq sitting on pallets of gold. Look at all the rare pictures of the weapons of mass destruction. All that stuff is coming back, like it's new. Because now the kids are seeing it, it's like, hey,
that's true.
That doesn't make sense. And those
like that Bin Laden letter that everybody should read.
Talking
still
about that for a while,
Everybody should.
Yeah,
read
they should.
It. They should.
One of the things everybody should read. Though.
Because we played right into their hands, and we should have known that it was happening because the letter described exactly what they intended to happen to us, and we just walked into it anyway.
Are you saying Tim Osmond is right? We should follow Tim Osmond, not the U.S. government.
Nope, I'm not saying anything like that. But I am, in fact.
We should follow Donny Osmond. He's the one.
Donny Osmond. Everybody follow Donny.
Like a little bit of rock and roll.
Yeah.
Like a little bit.
If we should follow anybody, it'd probably be Curtis Yarvin.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Amen to that.
I have a question. Do you think Elon's audit of the IRS and these Doge SEC Doge IRS tweets asking for people to talk about being wronged, do you think they're going to have any bearing on Roger Vare's case? Do you think the IRS and Trump is going to say, hey, Ian Freeman and Roger Ver been lawfared, persecuted? These cases.
They are firing all existing federal prosecutors, so there's that.
I don't want to jinx it, but people are bringing his name up that don't have a real reason to politically, other than it's the right thing to do, which makes me hopeful, and I don't like to be hopeful.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you come into a
hope
case
to,
as a lawyer and you
not.
see that some sketch mo was being a sleazebag, then you can make a career by calling it out.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So when these replacements come in, it's going to be like, who wants a promotion? What kind of whistles can you blow?
The USAID thing was surprising. They actually shut it down. The offices. There's something happened. It's not just talk. I'm so used
CFPB.
to talk.
That's my favorite one.
So if they did actually do change with the IRS, just change, just making it simple, doing the flat tax or shut it down. But just
we shouldn't even have a personal relationship with the federal government. They should be taxing the states.
Bring that comment up.
An audit or an executive order cannot change the way we tax, because the income tax is now in the Constitution. So my argument is Trump just needs to say, well, let's just
power, though,
make
not a
it
mandatory.
$1 tax per year for the income tax. And so it's almost effectively zero, right? Everyone just pays $1 in income tax.
Right, but the income tax
rest
isn't
over
mandatory
limit.
according to
You're not
the
fighting the U.S.
Constitution.
Constitution.
Well, it's not mandatory according to the Constitution, though. It's just permissible, right? So they could stop it.
I have a question.
We just could not exercise the power.
Greg, can the president and audit the Fed? You've lost $4 trillion. It's a private institution that is very special.
Auditing the Fed is kind of an interesting.
Here's my question. Here's my question, because this could do it. They say you've lost this money, and it's a special institution. You basically give money and loan money to the world governments. You have to be held to this standard. You have done this wrong. We fine you $3 trillion, $2 trillion. Take that money and distribute it in the tax return to everybody. So basically, he just hands over like to every American like 50 grand or something.
So this is amusing to me because the Fed right now is a giant toxic asset laundry, essentially. The Fed has not been really sound in terms of what it's been up to for a long time, and you can see that already on information that they make public. The fact that they are losing ass loads of money is not in question, because that data is public on Fred. The thing that they would be auditing would be the private meeting minutes, the whys of doing things that we would begin to know. And those things could be politically devastating to the existence of the Fed, period. And I think that's probably what they're the most afraid of.
What I'm saying goes along with what Joe was saying about the bad stuff, the sad part of it collapsing. But imagine basically Robin Hooding it. You do destroy the Fed, but you take everything from them first.
There's nothing in there, though, is the thing.
There never really was.
There are derivatives that are valued what they call nominally. But
you take the gold back. You take the gold back. You take the real money back.
Is the real value.
Then you take all the fake money from the Fed. You give it to everybody. They have a party.
Right, and each of us will get a fraction of a penny, is what I'm saying.
You switch over to the new system, which is the old system.
Right.
I don't
know. I think the amount of crime going on there is so insane that we're going to want to jail these people after we hear what's going on.
Yeah. Jail?
Rope.
Yeah. Jail?
Yes, no jail.
Well, that's the moderate position.
What are you, progressive liberals? We don't do jail here.
Can I? Hey, Sean,
I'm just trying not to turn into the bad guys.
Sean, you brought up in the Telegram chat about the Henry Ford case in the state of Michigan, and that the first order is for the shareholders over the employees.
Yeah.
Let me comment on that, because let me explain why I believe this is going to sound really ugly. Why I believe that that's accurate and the correct, because the risk factor in the court system say that the creditors, right, actually fall in line. Do the creditors fall in front of the employees, in front of the shareholders, those who have lent money to the corporation, or shall we say bondholders, these kinds of things, right? So the question really comes back to that: who is first in the pecking order? And it's been this way in the country. It's been like that hundreds and hundreds of years all around the world, that those who put up the capital as risk were first in line, for payment ahead of the employees. Now, having said that, that means that there are still laws with teeth, which is your payroll laws, that if you owe a worker a salary or hours worked, those laws have really strong gnashing teeth to go after the CEO, the CFO, or just the owner of the mom and pop business if little Ruthie or little Johnny didn't get paid this week. So I have to agree with the letter of the law that it sounds ugly. It really does sound ugly on face.
It is.
But put up the risk is. So if a company has to pay the employees before anybody and everything, will the company survive? Because the next month, maybe the next month, the company needs an injection of capital just to survive.
Companies do pay. Companies do pay everything they have to keep the workers they have. They do.
Now you're skewing it a little bit, because the whole reason for it was Henry Ford said, "Hey, we've made so much money that I want to give more back to the people that have been that made it, that made the good cars, that do this. They need a raise. And then the shareholder said, no, we want that extra money. And that was but the people. No. This is we got to bring it up now. So what happened was, this is like 1915, 1919. Which, Joe, why don't you look up the Dodge symbol for Dodge Brothers symbol for 1919?
And don't they have a decent claim to it?
But
right?
well, hold on. Now, this is what happened. Henry Ford said, I want to pay them extra, and then the Ford. But here, hold on. The Dodge Brothers, an actual competitor of Ford, took them to court and said, "Hey, he can't pay the workers more. That he needs to worry about the shareholders and give them money first, not the workers." And then the government told a business owner how to run
say that he doesn't
business.
have to do that in order to keep the workers.
That's the basic. To me, when it boils down to, is that the government told a business owner how much he couldn't give his money.
What it boils down to me is founder versus manager discretion over companies is what it says to me. The founder said, "I want to pay my employees more." And the board said, no, our managers say you're paying them too much. And the managers won a lawsuit against the founder, essentially, to force this to not happen. And the fact that the professional managerial class within that company, right? The people who said, we're having our independent actuaries decide whether or not you're making sound
Are you saying this actually happened, or are you
I'm saying this is exactly how it happens. When a company's board forces a CEO's hand.
In other words,
what do you call it? What's the legal word for I have a right to actually, I have damage, or I have something else for a reason that I could sue? Were they a shareholder? That's the thing that I've not seen.
It's a fiduciary duty-based
responsibility.
It was a fiduciary duty-based,
contractual.
And if you make that argument, you're basically saying that the CEO is violating sound fiduciary practice by what they're doing, so we want to force their hand to do a different thing.
Yeah, the Dodge brothers did buy a bunch of stock in Ford to do this. They owned about
it's called activist investing.
One of them, they owned that, and that's why they took them.
This is how George Soros took over the world.
Okay, so that's
effectively managerial socialism.
John and Dodge were shareholders when they brought their lawsuit against Henry Ford in 1919. All right. And so there's a bunch of questions. And but by the way, that meme is super old. I mean, it's been on 4chan for quite a while, and it's like what
bothers me is it always gets painted as this caricature of look at these rich, stuffy elites siding with themselves and self-dealing, when in reality what this is the influence of government in the relationship between corporations and their founders.
Exactly.
I don't like it that the government injected itself between Henry Ford and his people. His competitors used it as a way to force it so that they wouldn't lose their workers to Ford. So it was strategic on their part to go out and buy Ford stock, because what the government also looked at is if the company is going bankrupt, who's first to get paid? The shareholders, the creditors, or the employees? And everyone gets ranked. So they're flipping it and saying, okay, now the company is very profitable, which is the pecking order. I think Henry Ford was in the right. He was trying to do the right thing for the employees.
Henry Ford was trying to make Ford dominant, and they weren't dominant after that, were they?
And you can look. Henry Ford invented the weekend. Henry Ford used to pay his employees in gold. Yeah, I mean, he did all the right things, and they effectively stopped him.
This is why blockchain is ultimately necessary. Wall Street is
protecting us
because once Henry Ford, the man, is gone, the company can do what it will.
Yeah,
and it can have weak leaders.
Read the Ford autobiography. It's actually worth reading. It's not too long. It's really good. It's a lot of good ideas in it. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, Taylor basically used him as a springboard to take over the fucking world for the professional managerial class.
Like how Costco was kicking the crap out of Walmart, and it's like Walmart stepping in and saying, "Hey, Costco, you can't pay your workers that much, and you got to raise the price on that hot dog. You can't keep it at $1 no matter what."
Yep.
It's like it just seemed like overly
summary of the case there, Joe, if you want to put it up.
Here's
for everybody to
see. I did finally pull this up. But,
you're good.
Did you have? Oh, there. Oh, sorry. Okay, here is the full-on summary of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting story. I don't know why it came up now all of a sudden, except the government and Wall Street are hand in hand. Wall Street banks pay off politicians and bureaucrats, and then they do these things, and it still happens, and it probably even worse now than it was then.
Yeah, significantly worse. In fact, this was probably one of the early models for the structure of controlling corporations outside. You'll notice that antitrust policies shifted around this time as well. Yeah. Once the parasite class had control over American innovation, they dialed back their other weapons that they had aimed at them previously. This was a more subtle, infiltrated form of breaking companies up.
Yeah. I know we touched on this subject last week, but I think it's still a good thing to talk about in current events today is, I firmly believe, I'm going to give some hopium that we're winning in that people are becoming more and more distrustful of their government. We're seeing Elon's, opening the books and more transparency, seeing how the wasteful spending, how the money has been flowing, and all of the corruption is starting to be exposed, and it's just the tip of the iceberg as we dig deeper. But you know what's going to happen, and here's my prediction. When the JFK, RFK, and MLK files are released, and we see a second shooter and how evil the government was, and the government took out their own leader, a coup took place, the CIA was involved,
it'll be
level of distrust in government is going to really hit a high note, and it's going to be great to see because it's going to help ring in, pull back the reins of power from the government and bring it back local, closer to home and to we the people. I'm hopeful of that. I'm hopeful of that.
I have something that is very worrisome about that, though. That we were told, hey, we're going to release JFK, we're going to release, I think they said 9/11. They never said Epstein, which is an issue. But the bigger issue is that
one of them did.
Now you have a congressional committee is going to be filtering all of this freaking info. Why do we need a filter? We have the freaking internet. If this was the 1950s, sure.
Well, I mean, are there any things that we want? Are there any things that we want to hold back just in case we want to use them as levers for power?
No,
that's what they're thinking. That's what they're thinking.
Yes,
they're thinking like, do we need this secret as a bargaining chip?
Well, and you look at the background of the people, and you look at the likelihood. I think everybody who knows much about it has some tinge that it's CIA is involved, FBI is involved, but so was Mossad. Right. You have the nuclear plant that happened. You had all the rest of this stuff that happened after that, and the fact that you have people who are, I don't know if they're dual citizens, but they have complicated loyalties that are on that committee.
They're making money off of APEC.
Yeah, that the committees are where they get you, right? Yeah. Like the committees are where they close the doors and do stuff that you can't know about.
Dual citizenship, very interesting, Joe. That's like we talked about crypto. There's normies are using words and that are talking about things that only conspiracy theorists and nuts talked about. There was this post, I forget who posted it, but it was like end wokeness or cat turd. It was someone, I think it was cat turd. But anyway, it was because it was about Omar, married a brother, blah blah. Should you have to be an American born, or should you be allowed to be an immigrant and be allowed to run for political office? And all these people were no, and it's kind of racist. And I said, well, I don't agree with it, because it's like, do you agree or do you disagree?
As long as the voters are a test, then
I said I disagree, because my grandfather was an immigrant. He fought in World War II, and he ran and held political office on a county and state level. I said he's one of the best Americans I knew, and was a great example growing up. I said, but I do think, but there was a lot of people that said no dual citizenship. I said, I do think you should not be allowed to have dual citizenship at a federal level, period.
No, I disagree with that. I disagree. I'm okay with dual citizenship.
I would say, honestly, the right thing to do is make sure that the voting system doesn't bring in the wrong sort, right? And that to me says we really do need to start looking at something more like autocracy if we want to have a fair representative government.
I believe in dual citizenship because if one becomes so tyrannical, then I can jump to the other one. And you know what? It comes down to, the right of self-determination, an inalienable right. I have the right to choose who my leaders are. That's why there's a Texit movement, a Cal-Exit movement.
Yeah, but you've always got that. If that's the thing, if it gets bad, you can renounce citizenship and go to police. You can renounce, but to have that double loyalty while you take office, that's something that I think.
Yeah, there should be no.
To have the double loyalty while as an officer in the government is in question.
Well, as long as you don't break that oath, though,
of one government,
right? Like as long as you don't break that oath. My worry would not be national allegiance, right? Like you wouldn't be able to elect somebody, I think, who was flagrantly anti-American and have them stay in power for very long. What you get is a blowback, like what just happened. Chuck Schumer's on his way out the door, isn't he?
Yeah, how fucking long has Chuck Schumer been there? You said that you wouldn't be able to be very long.
We could increase the rapidity of and keep in mind I'm arguing within the logic of something that I think should be abolished in favor of autocracy, because if you just randomly selected people, you'd get better people.
Also, something I think is cool is like like we were talking about the Ukraine thing.
No.
The whole it's like common sense arguing now. They're like, hey, you should be, England and Europe should be involved in this. And it's like, why? You've had 3 years, you haven't done crap. Like, why do you deserve a part of the table?
Speaking of
guys, Schumer, hold on, Schumer.
No, you're good.
Came on TV and they said, yeah, okay, there's a lot of government waste, there's a lot of money that's being funneled, but it needs to be fixed, this way. And we're like, dude, like you said, you've been there for decades. You haven't done it. So now's what you get. This is how it is.
Protocols are fucking you.
Well, speaking of something that just got reported today, and speaking of old guys that should just, like Chuck Schumer, to just go away. Mitch McConnell his final year in office will be 2026. If he makes it that far.
How can those Kentuckians keep him in office?
That must be the year he finally fully converts into a sea creature and succumbs to the gypsy's curse.
That'll probably happen. That I think that
he needs to go to sea because he's going to be a turtle too much by then.
He has finally become turtly enough for the turtle club.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey guys, I'll tell you. I'll give you an answer to that for you, William.
Yeah,
Kentucky, specifically, where the region he represents, is like 99% of the whole state is none but woods, and there's no like real towns.
Right.
A huge percent of the population is concentrated right around Cincinnati, and then
Cincinnati
a little smaller.
And Louisville.
And Louisville is like an extension, and that's how they're able to gerrymander his existence in the system.
Just like Portland and Seattle.
That's not exactly how it works, though. Since he's a senator, though, Andrew, because he represents he's one of two that represents the state. But as far as like gerrymandering for votes, that's exactly how it goes. I still think it's kind of intriguing, though, because you have Massey that's kind of tucked away as a rep, and his district, which includes Northern Kentucky, near Cincinnati, so conservatively progressive. I'm surprised that Massey wins. Intriguing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the guy is actually legitimately not willing to bow, and he's survived enough terms that he's got the incumbent advantage, right?
That is true.
This guy is too much of an appropriate fuck you to not be able to be resendable every time. Until you'll know that the government has been reformed adequately when Massey can no longer make a case for himself.
Yeah. He's certainly making a case for himself right now to keep him in there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long wait for a train down. Come, honestly, he's not going anywhere for a while. We are not done perfecting the republic after Donald Trump. assuming it survives.
I'm going to tell you something. I believe, especially, I've just been reading a lot of history, but I don't know. I would say that we're at the end of the Republic. I would expect, that we will see the Republic end, and it'll be something else. It'll either everything will go away, or
it'll transform
it'll be an empire
into something new.
Actual admitted empire, essentially. So
right. If you look at the world history of the governing powers in the U.S., right? If you look at first the Articles of Confederation, the First Republic, and then you look at the Second Republic, the one that preceded the adoption of the Constitution, then you can say what Lincoln created was the Third Republic. This is where we started to do some things that maybe didn't work out.
Right. And then FDR created the
Fourth Republic, right? And he built this king machine that Trump is actually deigning to use to trim back the court, essentially. And the court has been running things since FDR stepped down from the throne. This is American history right now. Whatever's next is whatever we come to terms with over the next coming decades, I think.
Well, I think that's the scary aspect, because I think what's next is an AI-driven imperialist regime.
It could also be with an appropriately constructed AI, an unavoidable version of laissez-faire.
So maybe something like Eden from Fallout 3.
No, so something like blockchain makes it so you can't use financial controls, and AI makes it so that your cultural program doesn't work anymore because it refuses to lie on your behalf.
Well, I just mean like President Eden from like Fallout. If you play Fallout 3, like Enclave is so tiny and minuscule that nobody they think they have this illusion that they're still in control, but they don't have any real control. So
it'll be a lot like the Pope, right? They'll just make decrees and people will go just like that earlier video.
Exactly.
It's hilarious.
Okay. This is the one I can't remember her name, but she changed her last name. She was a stripper. I'd originally heard that she was a bartender at a strip bar, but I've also heard that she was a stripper. I don't know which, but either way, she's the one in charge of the JFK files, and I want to know why the hell they don't just make them public.
Well, can I make one quick observation? People think that the files are all in one location, and some people think that one location is like at the end of Indiana Jones, the first movie, you see that big giant warehouse with all the crates. But in fact, these files on purpose are disseminated, decentralized all over the country. There's a little bit of files in Dallas because that's where the shooting was.
The embarrassing thing is they may have lost them.
There's some files, who knows, in Fort Knox. We don't know, but they separated and put them all different places. They're at the NSA vault. They're at the National Archives. They're
wherever the gold is.
Vault. They're at the and it's a mess.
Well, didn't they just find 2,500 new files on that?
Yeah,
it's miraculous.
It's in Nancy Pelosi's vault at Gringotts.
I just want them to. You're right, Joe. Though they need to release all of them. That's what the executive order states.
Yep.
They're supposedly compiling, and they need somebody who, kind of like what's the guy's name? Roger. He was with Nixon. And he's been with all these different administrations. Roger Stone. Yeah. Not the Stone, the movie producer.
Not the 4th of July guy.
He's someone that they need to have involved in this to make sure that they're gathering all of the documents at all these different locations.
Well, that's what Doge is doing, right? Like that's what when they say what this is, what tech support means, they're ensuring at a data level that everything is actually happening according to what's been ordered.
I like that guy.
How many people saw that? And by the way, I didn't realize it was going on. The Yeezy thing that he. Okay, so for one thing, he went and was posting a lot of crazy stuff. It was
God,
I always enjoy it because people who censor stuff, freak out when stuff like that happens, and therefore I love. I don't even care if I agree with what is being posted. I will enjoy it. And so he was posting a bunch of stuff. He was getting, all types of limitations. Like you couldn't reply to some of these posts on Twitter. You couldn't do various things. And then, out of the blue, he started posting hardcore porn. And the funniest thing,
It was actually him. He wasn't hacked.
The funniest thing about it was that the hardcore porn had no limitations. They were not saying, "Oh, you can't post this." It was only if it was something about Israel or Jews.
So a fair point.
Be limited, but if you posted porn, it's all fine. And
my engagement goes way up here when I have this furry splooshing a cake.
Listen, this is important.
Wait, this is good. This is good. What Joe's explaining.
He did this, and it all culminated. And of course, I didn't watch the NFL, even though the Chiefs were playing. I didn't watch. On the Super Bowl, he bought a Super Bowl commercial and filmed it with his iPhone in a dentist chair like this, and basically said on purposely, he's like, go to UC.com.
Dangerously insane human being.
It was so amazing because like he just got so much attention, and then he put a Super Bowl commercial out. And when you go to UC.com, the only thing you could buy was a shirt with a swastika on it. like that is such a troll. It is so
this guy's
funny.
Such an edgelord. This is ridiculous.
It's so funny. And by the way, I ordered 2 of them.
He's literally hitting all of the edges of free speech that are rough.
I was disappointed that they refunded my money, and I'm
Clearly
not going to get
which is
this
kind of cool.
historical item. So there it is. There it is.
You know,
you got to give the guy credit, right? Like he found the raggedy edge of free speech, and now he's insisting upon it.
Yes.
Yeah. I heard the reason that he had his girlfriend wear that see-through dress is because he's really trying to push transparency in the government.
Yep. There you go.
All I know is when he showed up at that fashion show with a White Lives Matter T-shirt on and tried to start a movement. That man crossed a line with the people that brought him up. Yeah. And he was officially, one of the shadow elves, so to speak.
It's genius.
Whatever's really going on in that guy, I think he's genuinely insane. I think he might need some help with borderline schizophrenia, but I don't think that drives most of what he does. I think that he lives with it functionally, thanks to all that money.
I think he's also got a kind of a genius marketing idea that is.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it is.
But it's a little too far ahead of its time to really be mainstream.
It's like shock radio, but meme style.
No, it's basically like it's an expression of commercial onomy that has been coming for a time, and it's sort of a testament to accelerationism that this man exists and is still selling things.
Right.
I'm going to find one here that is super important. I'm going to have to leave a little bit early. I'm going to leave really soon here.
I got it, Joe. I'll take us out under the 2-hour mark.
But I'm going to show you something if I can find it before. This is not the image, by the way. But this is not the shirt. No, but well, there's the shirt, but that's not what I was going to show you. That is the one that he had. I took a screenshot on it. We probably will be.
This is an op. The CIA, US8 is running this. No.
By the way, I don't know if you guys. I think that we found out that a lot of
sign up for the
YouTube
list.
streamers were financed by US8, right?
Yeah, right alongside Politico.
Yeah. Politico, like millions.
Yes.
We haven't talked about Vance's speech yet.
No, we haven't. I wanted to bring that up.
That's why I was going to go.
Let's bring that up. Let's bring that up.
Joe, what are your comments? Yes. You got to leave soon. What about Vance's?
I wanted to show you one. Maybe I'll show it next week if I can't find it. There's a. This is it. What stage of capitalism is this? We grow weed at a prison to help people out of prison who are there for growing weed.
I don't believe in the stages of capitalism.
Oh my god!
I don't know. I think this is pretty
late stage.
Very late stage. Anyway, okay.
Wait, let's hear the argument then for no stages at all, and that all we're trying to do is put an end, a telos, on something that's perpetual.
I know what stage that is, actually. I know
Liberty
what stage that is.
All right, guys, I need to go though.
Right in the middle.
Joe, hold on, everybody. Joe, what's your outtake? What do you have to do?
If you can, go to the go to x.com/DragonChain. Look for the Lucius tool, or go to the Telegram. That one way or another, go to the AI tool, produce some letters, send one a day if you can to the SEC Crypto Task Force and to the to your representatives, to your president, and also to the DM of what is it, Doge_SEC on X. Mostly we want, and I don't want to say flood. We want to make sure it's quality info. Don't send junk, but send stuff in that will essentially, from your angle, say something about the Dragon Chain case, that it needs to be dropped.
Yep. And we're working on a bot to facilitate these comments as well. So soon there will be an AI that can help you write appropriate Doge SEC calls that will frame it in terms of elevating the signal as opposed to creating an appearance of noise.
So for right now,
don't
we
use
just want
to send letters
don't
use it to send letters to BitBoy's lawyer. That's not a
do that too.
Or
Thanks,
do,
guys.
if you can't afford one
thanks,
otherwise.
Joe. We'll take care. Be safe.
Bye.
Take care, bud.
You too, hopefully. All right, guys.
So, so Vance.
Vance's speech. Who wants to
holy
start?
shit.
It was awesome, but what I think is really cool is the fallout from it, because there's like either you're on one side, which they're like just crazy, or there are these common sense, like really cool leaders. Like I didn't know the president of Finland was so based and intelligent.
For real.
He's like, well, he's not wrong. What? Yeah, and then you've got. I watched the Australian guy.
Oh, the Australians are.
He was like, "We've got to do," and then he's like, "We've given over $1.8 billion." I was like, "What,
dude?"
That's
we have more fraud than that coming out of our smallest government agency.
I have friends who are like, "Oh man, the crypto market's down." And, oh my God, I'm losing everything. It's like, I was like, yeah, I know, man. He's like, yeah, dude, I put like $80 in Bitcoin, man. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna punch you in the face. That's how I was like watching this. This dude was so mad, and then he's like, we have given over $1.8 billion, and I was like, what? Shut up! Why did I watch this interview?
Is that USD Australian too? Tell us the truth.
Didn't even think of that.
They have a branded currency that's based on our currency name. Like it's clearly Canadian, or it's like Canadian US dollars. They're still US dollars. They're just adjusted for inflation.
Maybe they should be a state at that point. They're already using our money.
I liked his comments about AI and free speech. Free speech is so dead in Europe. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That was.
I think they mistook what he said too as a threat. Like he was saying, if you don't pay attention to these things, we're withdrawing our support. Is how they read it. And what he actually said was, we can't help you. There's nothing we can do if you won't help yourselves.
Did you see the guy that cried? I didn't know he was.
Yeah, that was the MC of the event. Wow. He introduced him.
The defense minister. That's the defense minister. I just thought he was like a political guy. He's literally.
He was sobbing for a solid gold toilet.
Sean, him crying as a defense minister just shows how soy boys have raised to the top, right?
Genghis Khan would have none of that.
Exactly.
To push back on the free speech point in Europe, though, Europe's never really had free speech. They're still in that mentality of that serfdom.
Their philosophers invented the ideas while longing for it.
No, I disagree.
That's
having grown up in Europe, I can tell you. You may be talking about Britain or other, but
I'm talking about
Germany, Italy, France,
as it exists today.
They're famous for being dicks. You know what I mean?
But you can't be a dick in Germany now in the wrong way.
Yeah, but
without going to jail.
Was alive in Europe, and there's a guy that got arrested. And Lee told me about it. One guy got arrested because he said his neighbor was smelly. That was it. And this old guy who was a retiree, a pensioner, as people call them, he said, "Man, that guy is an idiot. That political person is an idiot. That's the word. Not anything super terrible. Arrested."
I will say, like, the West Germany actually probably especially had better free speech than Germany does now.
Yeah, that's the sad thing, man.
Germany is such a dangerous place now for people to have ideas. It really is.
No kidding.
Yeah,
that's funny. They think that they're ever going to revive their country's economy, that they're ever going to have anything fixed, that any of their problems are going to get addressed if they can arrest people for offending those in power who are tasked with making up solutions. It's sad. It's a decline, and it's almost as if they can't see that their own desire to be more human, if it's genuine, is the exact thing that is killing off their humanity.
Did you see the 60 Minutes thing? It's like when they make their own point. They're like, hey, looks like you're kind of going full Stasi here. And they're like, oh no, we only arrest people for this, and the fines are. And she was being a good journalist, like kind of half agreeing with him and laughing. And it's like, wow, you find that guy 3,700 euros for saying this. Yeah, well, that's not a problem.
Oh, and we took their phones away.
He's like, no,
they won't get that back.
He's like, right, we took their phones away.
That's like having their life taken. It's punishment. And they said it's punishment. That's the part, too. It's due process punishment.
She was leading them. Oh, yeah, like all their pictures, their kids and everything. Yeah.
Wait, so she wasn't on side censorship when she was doing that interview? Because it kind of seemed like she was softballing him a lot.
Oh, definitely.
I think she was leading them.
Propaganda piece for
They were saying so much out loud because they felt comfortable, which is like the way you do an interview. They damned themselves so much.
But what's hilarious, Sean, is there's a lot of people that are watching that and going, yeah, this is the right thing to do. Take their phone and silence them. What hate speech? They need to be locked up and throw away the key. There are so many people that are in that bizarre realm.
It's very easy to rile people up. It's very easy to rile people up to build prison cells. It really is. It's a cheap trick of government. All you have to do is repeat that something somebody is doing is negative 3 or more times in mass media. Start decrying it, and it's not too long before a useful idiot chimes in with there ought to be a law.
Ronald Reagan used to say, well, there you go again. Well, how about 60 Minutes? There you go again. They had that supposed USAID worker who lost her job when, in fact, she wasn't actually a worker for the USAID.
Right. Or how about the blaming of the aircraft crashes in Canada on Trump terminating U.S. workers? that he actually never did. That was actually just based on a literal piece of fabricated news.
I saw that
he flipped a plane like that.
I saw that he fired nuclear safety workers as part of the cuts. And
good, actually. Thank you.
I posted a picture.
The Sievert is a big scandal that nobody's ever uncovered since the 80s.
I posted a picture of Homer Simpson. I was like, well, this guy's a nuclear safety officer, and he sucks.
Well, are you guys familiar with, can I digress us into the Sievert for a second? Are you guys familiar with how they measured nuclear exposure?
Sure, go for it. We got a few minutes.
I can do this quickly. The Sievert is a unit of measurement meant to replace the rad and meant to replace the Curie. And it's meant to help people estimate based on exposure to different classes of radiation, like how much damage it does to you. And it's really good at predicting like lethal dose and above what happens, because anything can predict what happens to you if you get a lethal dose and above.
Right.
But below that, they still treat it like it's working. This is why we have arguments over whether or not space radiation is dangerous to astronauts, right? The Sievert says it is, but the Sievert was also designed to fudge those facts to point towards safetyism. And this is something that we've used nuclear regulators to impose upon projects to make their costs go way the fuck up. This is the reason we don't have a nuclear industry. So it's a goddamn good thing he's getting rid of those people.
Because the other reason we don't is because of the lobbying and special interests to stop it. And the Greenies teamed up with the oil companies to stop nuclear energy. And squash it in Congress and make the regulations so dense, expansive that it's 10 years just to get one plant online is ridiculous. It's more like 20 years now. So we're still in stage 1, stage 2 nuclear plants running.
Oh yeah, we have engineered better plants for half a century and none of them built.
They're much safer.
Right. We can literally build fission plants with no waste that use the waste as fuel for a second stage.
Yeah.
We have that technology now. We just aren't allowed to build it.
To power a neighborhood, you could have a whole bunch of them.
And and to bring it back to what we were talking about before, right? The de minimis non curat lex conversation, the idea that it's not illegal to be an asshole, right? That the law doesn't pay attention to trivia. Has been used to weaponize the government against ideas like this.
I think
right?
part of what's going to end it is when the pendulum swings, the snake eats its own tail. I watched this one video from Europe, and this guy went to the police. It was a protest, and he said, "This guy called me a jerk," and he's like, "Who?" He goes, "This fucking stupid cunt dick called me a jerk." And the cop said, "What is he? Stupid fucking cunt dick called me a jerk. You're under arrest." He's like, "What?" Wow. He's like, you just called him a stupid fuck in front of me. No, you're on. So he arrested the guy, and it was like, if they were like, no, don't.
Oh, by the way, European snitch line users,
orderly.
That attention is to you. That's an electronic system. You can technically slander somebody on.
Oh my gosh. Hey, we hit 770 on our total view count so far. It'd be nice to get it up over 1,000
Holy
again,
shit.
like it used to be. We used to be in the thousands, but long story short, I'm going to take this plug while we got our numbers up. Goodness, this is an amazing show. It's insane that we talk about blockchain technology to solving the world's problems and transparency in government. Data that can't be changed or altered. That's the power of blockchain. Please, everyone out there, like, share, and subscribe. Spread it far and wide. Repost this on X, because there's not very many.
We're like the only builder proactive show too.
Solutions and blockchain, how it can provide such a betterment for society as a whole. And in the crypto space, look at today. We talked about the SEC in the first 30 days of Trump. It's been a phenomenal show. I appreciate everybody here.
Been great entertainment. I was talking about the SEC and Trump. Great entertainment. We'll see if patience is a virtue, so we'll see if it actually does anything good in the long run.
True. And Did.Social is where everyone can participate in the show. You folks that are watching and listening, this is where you can have a say in what we as panelists are going to talk about. You can vote on the themes and determine the themes. You could vote on the questions and determine the questions. You could post questions on Did.Social in our category.
You can propose things to change.
In other words,
you
as an audience have the power to tell us what to think and say in a sense,
Hate watch.
You don't find that very. This has been going for we're almost on what? We're hitting.
We're at episode 196. We got 4 to 200.
Yeah, so there's not very many shows out there or podcasts, if any, that could do what we do, and it's the power of a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, or smart constitution, whatever you want to call it. It's powerful. It's very, very powerful. It's the future of how governments will be managed, and it's a kind of a form of direct democracy, but yet with representatives. Powerful. Yep. Powerful.
The other thing we're going to do here always that I'd like to add to that is encourage people to go out and create and build. That just because you're in the audience now doesn't mean that you don't get involved here or somewhere else and become a powerhouse in your own right. That will move the world. These are the people we're trying to reach. And if you know anybody like that who hasn't seen us, then you should definitely pass it on to them.
Yep, please. For sure. Well, I want to make sure that we end this correctly, but I want to make sure everyone gets a good amount of time to tell us what's going on in their lives and in their social media reach. So let's start with you, Andrew. We're going to go to Zach and then Greg and Sean, and then back to me. What's up with you, Andrew? What's new in your world?
I just want to comment about what you guys were talking about earlier. The Demon's Core. I put it on YouTube, but they're doing cowboy research, and that's a big reason why we're dealing with the overregulation of the nuclear industry right now. Is because they were being stupid because they didn't have to think about the consequences of their behavior and the long-term effects. So I'll pass it on to Zach, but
great point.
That's exactly it. That is, again, then because of all of that shenanigans in the competition, we're all punished in today's day and age to not be able to compete. So, but to close out, you can catch me and Andrew. We go live, not really live, but we go live Monday through Wednesday for our Legacy News segment at 5 p.m. Eastern, X and YouTube, Twitch as well, if you can find us. And then we go live every Friday at 11 a.m. for our weekly Legacy. So tune in tomorrow because we got something in the works that actually Greg recommended us to take a look at. So tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern for weekly Legacy.
Nice.
Should be a good one. That should be really cool.
Great.
So I want to point out just 3 things for people who are out there on the web looking for things to send to the attention of Doge and to try to raise up so that we can get everything that needs to get fixed. 3 issues that really haven't been on the agenda yet. 1, the National Ignition Facility has been spending a total of 8 days a year, basically, working on their ability to ignite fusion, and they've succeeded at it several times over the past 4 years, and nobody has prioritized it. That's fucking ridiculous. Let's get fusion. Somebody go make Doge, make them stop testing nuclear weapons safety, and switch over to pursuing fusion full time. Second one is we've got to do something about privacy. Privacy is a cybersecurity issue, and it ought to be guaranteed at a technical level. And nobody's talking about that yet. Roman Storm's still on trial. That needs to stop. And third, and I would say most of all, is probably going to be the other regulatory space around crypto. We need to start talking to CFTC, and we need to start talking to the stuff they're doing. That place is better than the SEC, but it's just as corrupt when it comes down to it. It's just a little friendlier. We can't let that just go untouched as well. Their issues need to be addressed, and they probably need to be wound down as an agency altogether rather than made the regulator of crypto. So people should start looking into why we have that, because it's not there for any good reason. And that would be my little outro for the day. So go check that stuff out, guys. Let's change this fucking situation.
Amen.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen. Thanks, Craig. Sean, what's new with you? Where can we find you?
Usual places. Check out my channel, Satoshi Sean. Got reviews. I'm gonna start focusing on trading a bit, just like basic stuff, how to look for certain easy patterns and just learning how to trade, which I've been doing for a while, and it's just it's a I think it's something everyone should do, so you're not at the mercy of everyone else. You can always make money whether the market's going down or the market's going up. Interviews. I thought after the election I'd be able to get a lot more people, but it seems like everyone's actually doing things now, and things are still as crazy as they were before. But I'm trying to get some cool interviews. That's it.
Cool. Thanks, Sean. Hey, I like your meme reviews, man. You gotta keep doing those. Those are fun.
Yeah, there's doing one this week. So.
Super.
Nice.
Super.
I
let's see. I guess it's up to me now to close us out. First, thanks to all the panelists for being here and giving us your 2 cents. Always wise and wisdom and good information. Appreciate all of you. Appreciate the viewers and those in the chat as well. Participation. I encourage you to all go to din.social, go to the World Blockchain Roundtable, and participate that way. Ask us questions, vote on themes, and these kinds of things. And we would certainly welcome you to that realm on din.social, where you can be a more than just a participant, but have a say in the show, say in this podcast.
Yep. It's 1992 in here. Get in on the internet.
Yeah, and the power of blockchain, what it can do to, like I said, make society a better place. As for me, I was on Litecoin Lisa's show Monday evening, and we've been doing those pretty regularly Mondays. Those are fun. Those are good ones. And we talked about abiotic oil. It's just kind of a dovetail to the nuclear side of things. But today, 2:00 is a DinDAO meeting. As the Emperor of Din.Social, duly elected, unopposed, and unanimously elected as an Emperor of Din.Social and DinDAO, and self-proclaimed Emperor of all social media. I'm going to close out our show today with, I can't get enough. I miss the man, John McAfee. So again, everybody, thank you for tuning in and watching all the way to the end.
America's not the government, people. The America is you. It is the Grand fucking Canyon, the Rocky Mountains, the deserts of the Southwest, the Pacific fucking Ocean, the Atlantic fucking Ocean. It is the grandest continent. And what the fuck have you people done? You have turned yourself into sheep, every goddamn one of you.